Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. This is a regular meeting of the Isla Vista Community Services District. I will say at the beginning that we are testing out a new hybrid meeting technology. So if you are having any accessibility issues, and Jonathan, can you do roll call?
Okay, Director Brandt?
Here.
Director Flaherty?
Here.
Director Bertrand?
Here.
Director Freeman?
Here.
Director Aguilar?
Here.
And Director Deschler is absent today.
All right, before we begin, we would like to acknowledge the Chumash people, who are the traditional custodians of this land. We pay our respects to the Chumash elders, past, present, and future, who call this place, Anascoyo, the land that Isla Vista sits upon, their home. We are proud to continue their tradition of coming together and growing as a community. We thank the Chumash community for their stewardship and support, and we look forward to strengthening our ties as we continue our relationship of mutual respect and understanding. Now we're going to move to the consent agenda. Do any directors have items that they'd like to pull? Hearing none, I'll entertain. Chat.
No, we just had someone mention an issue. The audio is dropping a little bit, but that's it.
Are folks able to hear us okay?
You were cutting out a bit, but now I can hear you.
Okay.
Audio in and out is what we're.
Okay. If the issue persists, just keep letting us know and we'll
Yeah.
make adjustments.
Yeah, people are saying intermittent. Yeah.
Okay, so the motion is to approve the consent agenda.
Freeman?
Yes.
All right, motion passes 5-0. Now we're going to move to the public comment period. This is the time for any member of the public to speak on any items that are not on our
from what Officer Bornay is saying.
Connections in and out, yeah. Let's keep getting a message about bad connections.
Do we want to break for 5 minutes and try and get this figured out?
That would be good.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to go recess for 5 minutes to figure out the audio. Thanks everyone for bearing with us. Okay, just Jay, have any recommendations?
Is it possible for us to turn off the audio on this and
Yeah.
And then we So I'm. All right, I'm unmuting. Oh.
So okay. Well,
Isn't this all the volume down?
Can I see that?
I would suggest disconnecting audio as opposed to just, okay, maybe you fix, oh yes, you need the laptop, but you're still getting loop back.
Yeah, good. Okay.
All right. Okay, so where's the feedback coming from? Is everyone's on? But they need to.
can you hear me?
Have you muted the audio from the, not muted, but have you turned the volume down in some sense on the audio from, no, because you disconnected the audio there. So I'm not certain why you're getting a feedback.
Okay, no feedback. Can everyone hear me? All right, I see a thumbs up from Mark. Okay. And does anyone from the public want to say something unmuted so that we can hear what it sounds like?
Hi, I'm a member of the public. Can I be heard?
Works for us? Okay.
Yeah, let's try the rest of us now, see if we can hear the rest of us.
All right, Marcos.
Hi. From my speaker or? No. Okay, yeah, hopefully something good for you guys. Can everyone hear my voice?
You know what? Oh wait, I got one thumbs up. I'm gonna turn off noise cancellation. Oh, I guess I can't do that. Okay. Catherine, you want to say something?
Yes, can everyone hear me?
I heard that.
Okay. Ethan?
Can everyone hear me?
I heard that.
Okay, so we're going to proceed. Thanks everyone for bearing with us. And I will just have to remember not to mute myself. Okay, we are reconvening the Community Services District meeting at 6:10 p.m. And we have a motion on the floor made by Bertrand, seconded by Aguilar, to approve the consent agenda. Or no, we already did that, didn't we? We just went through that. Okay. Now we're moving to the public comment period. So anyone who has public comment that is not on the agenda tonight, please go ahead and indicate in the chat or raise your hand. I see something in the chat from Mark Vukovic. Go ahead, Mark.
I was just indicating what part of the meeting we were in because of the confusion. But hi, everyone. Mark Hume has love restrooms in Isla Vista, and I hope everyone's doing well. That's it for me. Thanks.
Thank you, Mark. Are there any other requests to speak on any items not on the agenda today? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move along to the first item on our agenda, which is the introduction of Ivcsd Community Engagement Director, Sydney Casler.
Okay, Sydney, you want to unmute yourself and introduce yourself?
Yeah, no problem. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sydney Casler. I'll just give a really quick little background about myself. I came to Santa Barbara from the Bay Area to attend City College. I graduated from DePaul University with my bachelor's degree in psychology, and I minored in sociology. And since graduating, I have been in the nonprofit sector in Santa Barbara for over 10 years now. I've worked at PathPoint, NOAA's Anchorage Youth Crisis Shelter, CALM, and the Santa Barbara Foundation. In between, I volunteered in a few different countries, and I came back and received my MBA at Antioch. And I also had the opportunity to attend the Emerging Leaders Program, and I built and continue to build an incredible network as I now co-chair the Alumni Leadership Council. And I'm just really excited about this role. It holds so many areas that I'm really passionate about, everything from building relationships, advocacy, outreach, collaboration. So I'm really looking forward to bringing my leadership skills to this role and engage with the community that I care so much about. So I'm just excited and grateful for this opportunity.
Well, thank you so much for that introduction, Sydney. I know that on behalf of all of us, our board and the public, we are so excited to have you on the team. And we're so excited for all the amazing things that we're going to be able to do with this role. And so we thank you for that. And I know we're all looking forward to meeting you soon in person.
Thank you. I am as well.
Excellent. Does anyone have any questions for her? I'll give her, I have a little introduction for her too, but I want to.
Any questions from members of the board? Okay, go ahead, Jonathan.
Great. Yeah, I just wanted to say that Sydney was our successful applicant from a large pool of candidates, and we're so excited that she emerged as the one who our community committee strongly recommended. So she comes in with flying colors, and she's already in the last week of only being employed here with the CSD, has gotten to work, has got projects laid out of what she's looking to do. So she's hitting the ground running, and we're really excited for what she's gonna do. So she's been a great pleasure to work with, and I can't wait to see where we go from here.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Jonathan. And I just want to say to all of our many community partners who are on the call, I know that in speaking with you all, many of you over the past number of weeks and months, Jonathan and I have both been really touting this new position that we're going to have at the CSD. And I just really encourage all of you to get connected with Sydney. She's, as Jonathan mentioned, just getting started, but I think that it provides us so many different opportunities for collaboration and helping us communicate better with the public and engage the community here in Isla Vista. Okay, thank you so much again, Sydney, and we look forward to meeting you in person.
Thank you.
So the next item on our agenda is another introduction from the IV Compost Collective Program Manager, Carly Marteau.
Great, Carly, you wanna go ahead?
Hi, everybody. My name is Carly. I'm the new program manager for the Isla Vista Compost Collective. I recently graduated from UCSB with a Bachelor of Arts degree in Environmental Studies. And right now I've been working as a program manager for a few weeks now, and I've just mainly been working on expanding our service by finding new compost pile opportunities. We have a few exciting prospects right now, so I'm really excited and hope that we can very soon expand the program to anyone in IV who wants to participate. So that's really exciting. And then another thing we're working on right now is implementing our new electric bike, which is really exciting because that's another way that we are going to be able to begin expanding our program. So I think this year is going to be a big year for us, and I hope that we will be able to expand our services to everyone in IB who wants to participate. So it's really nice to meet all of you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Carly. It's great to meet you. And do you have an introduction you want to talk about?
So I just wanted to, Carly's been working with us for over a month now, I think. Yeah, we started on actually July 6th. So it's been over a month, Carly, and she's really also hit the ground running. That was another position where we had a large pool of applicants, very competitive, but we had our hearts were set on Carly. We said it was myself and our outgoing staff, Sienna and Chloe, who did the selection, and we really thought that she was going to be the best, and she has been. She's already gotten so much more done and has made taken a lot off my plate personally that I was working on with the Compost Collective, and has actually done a much better job than I could have done in a lot of these areas and getting the program to develop and to grow in just a month. So I'm really excited for what she's going to keep doing. But she's been an excellent addition to the team, and really seeing her benefits already.
Excellent. Well, I'm very glad to hear that. Thank you so much for introducing yourself, Carly. I look forward to meeting you in person as well. Before the meeting, I was reflecting with my colleagues on the board about how the last time that we were all together in this room was the meeting where we voted to adopt the Compost Collective as a program of the Community Services District. And that was only a little bit over a year ago. So it is really incredible to see how far we've been able to come in a year. And I'm very excited for the opportunities that this role now presents. So very nice to meet you, Carly. And I know that we'll see each other soon in person. Okay. We're going to move to the next item, which is 4.3, the safety station contract with Ucpd. And I'll hand it over to Jonathan to present.
Let me get my screen share. So, okay, cool. So this is our exciting addition update to the safety stations contract with Ucpd, and we have a lot of our partners from Ucpd on today. So I'll turn it over to them to say something in a second. But I wanted to introduce this because this really does upgrade the safety stations program in a lot of different ways. So the first is that it adds a third location, and that's something our finance committee reviewed already in July and have included in the calculations for the final budget. But it does include a third station and additional escorts. So that's the big first change, and it's no set location for the third station. It's going to be we're going to test out two different ones, and we're going to settle into the one that works best and then work towards more. The next thing is that we're going to redesign the program. So the CSOs are going to be given vests or different kind of clothing to make themselves more welcoming, as well as the tent being redesigned, which it hasn't been since 2018. So that's another big thing that we're going to change. Is that's a lot of the feedback we've gotten is that we got to make this program more inviting and welcoming in visual ways. So that's something we put down. And then the next thing is our data collection is going to be hugely improved. We're going to have specific data metrics that we've already had reported, but some new ones, such as the types of public assist that we give, because that's another area of public service that the safety stations provide that we haven't really tracked specifically yet. Another change is the pay increase for the CSOs. So they're getting a $1 increase in their pay from $16.20 to $17.20. And then you'll see it's highlighted. We're going from 4 attendants and 4 escorts to 6 and 6. And that puts us at a budget of $84,000 for the new safety station MOU in 2021, 2022. And service will start on August 27th, August 28th, that weekend. And it'll start with 1 station at first, as UCPD is able to ramp up staffing to get to the 3 stations by the end of September. So that's where we're at with this. And yeah, it's a great, I think, upgrade and update to our existing service, and I want to recommend approval. And I want to turn it over to our team here that's on to chime in on any additional points that you'd like to have covered.
I'll go first just because I'm real quick. Just want to stress, with this safety tent, I was a UCSB student from 2008 to 2012, and I was a CSO during that time as well. And I remember we used to do escorts to Isla Vista, and some of the nights, I mean, it was just so rowdy and getting yelled at and stuff thrown at us, and just kind of dropping people off in IV and then leaving and going back to campus never felt right. It always felt weird. And so seeing it go from that to actually having a tent where we're a beacon of light for people to walk up and feel safe and hang out if it's available, or get phone charge, water, seeing that process is amazing. And I'm super excited. We've done probably 12 meetings in the last 2 months with parents of incoming students. And we all talk about this project. And it puts a lot of parents at ease knowing that there is an entity in Isla Vista that's dedicated to keeping the community safe on Friday and Saturday night. So I just want to say thank you for all the hard work that the board put in on this and being collaborative with our department. I'm going to go kick it over to Lieutenant Kraus to say what he wants to say about this program, but also to introduce himself because he is in a new role and I do not believe he's got a chance to meet everybody yet. So Lieutenant, do you want to take it from there?
Thanks, Ariel. Hi, everybody. My name is Brad Prowse, and I'm a sergeant here at the university. I am in an acting lieutenant role behind Lieutenant Millard's retirement and Lieutenant Rob Romero's retirement. So we're going through some change, and I talked to Jonathan about this today, and we're trying to create some stability where we're going through a lot of change in our department. So we're trying to have the conversations so that we're all on the same page, working collaboratively together. And this project is an amazing project. The thought of expanding it to reach out and be able to service more people and have that much more of a positive impact is tremendous. We still have a few things we want to do and locations that we want to look at, but we found a couple that we're really interested in. And we need to pull in some partners to see if we can get some additional lighting in those places. But I think that if we're able to do that, it's going to work out really, really well. So I look forward to working collaboratively with this board and to be able to continue the conversations that we've had. So hopefully we can all meet in person at one point.
Great, thank you, Lieutenant Prowse. And yeah, it's great to have your partnership and your assurance today as a partner. And one thing I forgot to mention on here is that we are going to be doing a user survey at the tents to help figure out how we can improve them continually. So as people walk by, they'll be encouraged to take a survey if they interact with the station. So that'll be another thing that we'll work together on PCPD as the way to improve.
Thank you for that presentation, Jonathan, Lieutenant Prowse, and Lieutenant Mornay. I want to open it up to our board and ask if there are any questions on the presentation. Director Bertrand.
Yes, thank you. Well, I just really want to commend our team and everyone who's working on this.
This was our first service that we launched as a district. It was a risk that we took with UCPD and a risk that UCPD took with us. And together it's paid off. We've had a lot of success with this program. It's been great for the community, so I'm excited to see it expand. One question I have is, what outreach are we doing for the neighbors of these locations? Is there an opportunity for us to perhaps let them know, hey, we're thinking of expanding here. Here is this awesome service that we're bringing to your neighborhood.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's not something planned yet, but we can work together with UCPD on, and we're gonna need to work with the park district to actually locate them. But then there are a lot of greenhouses that are neighbors with.
Cool. Yeah, I think that'll be a great opportunity because a lot of folks, when they see the program and they've been able to use it, it's been very positive. But when looking to see how we can expand, just talking to some of the folks who are right there might be our best starting point. But I'm really impressed by this and just want to thank everyone.
Thank you, Director Bertrand. Are there any other questions from directors? Director Freeman.
In the data collection, I'm getting an echo from my still in that. In the data that's being collected with relation to the escorts, one thing that I'm particularly interested in, this might actually be a statistic that's already being kept. But one thing I'm particularly interested in is whether the person being escorted is a UCSB student or not. Because part of what I'm interested in is whether that person, whatever escort they would have been covered by UCSB's existing CSO system, as opposed to us paying to have that escort. So possibly with more delay, but yeah.
Is that something you all could do?
I think that's a question for UCPD. Can you describe what that process is for data collection and if it's possible to collect that information?
We're building our data sheets now. So the sooner we get all of the points put together, the sooner we can get those taken care of. We can collect a reasonable amount of data from that, but we can make that a point as to whether or not they're affiliate of UCSB or not.
The question that comes to mind is just at who's going to be asking this and at what point. Are we having CSOs ask them, are they students when they go for the escort? Just kind of what that looks like, the practical nature of that, is just something we would have to work out. And you don't necessarily want the escort to feel like they're getting grilled, like it's like taking out all this information. But it's definitely something we could talk about it and look into it. And I think this would be a great opportunity to talk to the CSOs themselves as well and see, hey, what would that look like practically? And would this be super easy, or would it make, community members uncomfortable or what? But yeah, let's definitely, we'll take notes on that and we'll look into that and try to get it done.
Yeah. I appreciate your input on that, and I might even suggest, I know that the survey for users is being developed, and maybe that's a good place for that information to be collected, so that it's not the CSO having to ask a bunch of information. But I know that staff will work with UCPD to try and figure out what that looks like. And thanks for being open to our suggestions here on the fly. Are there any other questions from board members about the MOU? All right, I'm not seeing any, but I just really want to say a big thank you to UCPD and our staff for putting this together. This is such a meaningful expansion of a program that I think is really successful. And it delivers on a lot of the things that we've been talking about over the last year, that we want to see this program move in the direction of having an additional location, reevaluating what the uniforms are look like to try and make the space and the people in the space as inviting as possible. And I'm just very appreciative of the partnership that we've had with UCPD. I think this is one of our most vital and valuable services. And I think a lot of residents in our community feel the same way. And so I just really want to say a big thank you. I have one question that I do want to ask, which is on the issue of lighting solutions. Lieutenant Prowse, can you talk a little bit about what you are thinking in terms of lighting solutions for that location?
Yes, we've actually tossed around a lot of different ideas, but I talked to Jonathan today about trying to involve IV Parks and Rec. If we were to try and go towards Greek Park and move a little bit farther north in Isla Vista, and we like the location, lighting is an issue, but if we could develop some sort of LED light that doesn't affect the neighbors adversely, and maybe some type of solar power for it so that it doesn't require either electricity or a generator that makes noise, that kind of thing, so that we can be that good neighbor. That's what we were going to try and focus on and work towards.
Yeah, thank you for that, Lieutenant Prowse. And yeah, I wonder too, just if there's a broader conversation to be had with IVRPD about stationary lighting in that park as well. I'd hope that we continue that conversation to try and make that space suitable, because we want to make sure that the CSOs that are out there feel safe and that the people around them who are getting the escorts feel safe as well.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to open the public comment period. Are there any requests to speak on the safety station MOU? I see one hand from Mark Buksevich. Go ahead, Mark.
Hey, thanks, Spencer. Yeah, two comments. So one, on the note of data, and I made this comment at the last public comment when this item was brought up, before the actual kind of contract. I think it would be valuable to know, I think right now, the safety stations program tracks what they call contacts, if I remember that correctly. It's where anyone kind of interacts with a safety station. And we didn't have any data on time, like whether those contacts were at 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m., et cetera. So we know when the mass preponderance of them are. So obviously they're being tracked numerically, but if they could also be tracked by time, that would be really valuable to know. Because I don't know if it's in this thing, but we talked about like limiting the hours. And I think that was decided, but it'd be helpful to know for the future, like when the most contacts are, to know if there needs to be hour adjustments in the future. And that's my first comment. And then my second comment is regarding the lighting situation. This just feels like a very small comment, but like a little upright stand light aimed up into the tent that is brought out, because I believe there's a tent always brought out to a safety station. We should definitely provide enough ambient light, because I actually work next to a little host stand at a restaurant that does the same thing. They have a little like cheap LED light, but they aim it up into the tent above, and it provides enough ambient light to be seen, to be spotted by customers, and to actually like provide the lighting that needs to be seen for like writing things down. So, and that shouldn't provide any like direct spotlight into a neighbor's home or in the surrounding area. It should just be enough to be seen. So I encourage that idea. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark, for your comments. Are there any other members of the public who'd like to speak? I'm not seeing anyone else. Really quickly, Jonathan, can you speak to the data collection and just go over again what data we're proposing be collected?
So the data that we're going to collect that we've discussed already with them is number of walk-up escorts, a number of dispatch escorts. So that's like the two different ways you can get one. You can either ask the station itself, or you can call the number and dispatch will send someone. Then we're going to track escort pickup and drop-off locations, if it is one of the dispatch ones, or even if it is one of the station ones. So we're going to just track pickup and drop-off locations, and then time to complete the escort. So does the escort take 30 minutes, 20 minutes, etc. Then, so that's the escort-based ones, and then we're just going to talk about the UCSB student status and how that could work. Then the more of the walk-up data is the water, how many people come up to use water, how many people come to use the chargers, and then the number of public assists, which we never tracked before, but now we'll track, which will what kind of help the safety station gives the public, directions, if they help let someone wait there for their friends or their ride share, if they're reporting an emergency with another. And that was provided by CSOs as the main things that they could ask anyway. So that's how we came up with those public assists.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you for going over that. All right. So seeing no other questions or comments from our board, I think we're ready for a motion.
I'll move approval of the MOU for the fiscal year 21-22 IV Safety Station program with UCSB Police Department.
All right, motion made by Bertrand. Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by Flaherty. Is there any further public comment? All right. And I know Jay left. Is Jay still on the line?
I am still on the line.
Okay, good. Just making sure. So we'll go to a roll call vote.
Okay, Director Brandt,
Yes.
Dr. Flaherty,
Yes.
Dr. Bertrand,
Yes.
Dr. Aguilar. Yes. Dr. Freeman.
Yes.
All right, motion passes 5-0. I see a hand from Director Bertrand.
Yes, thank you. Well, again, thank you so much, UCPD and partners, for working together on this. One item I just want to highlight is that we did end up finalizing in this MOU a clause that this partnership will involve groups attentive to racial equity and the fair treatment of all races, with the intent of providing equal escort opportunities and outcomes for all. And I just really appreciate our focus and our commitment to advancing equity. And I commend UCPD for being open on this and really willing to move the ball forward. So thank you.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Director Bertrand. With that, we are going to move to item 4.4, the Isla Vista Beautiful contract with the United Way.
Great, thank you. I'll introduce this one and our updates to this. And we also have Eddie Taylor, the CEO of United Way, to chime in as well. So I'm with my share screen. So the Isla Vista Beautiful is getting its contract renewed or this is a contract renewal. It's also undergoing a good number of changes compared to the previous one. The first change, I'll go down to the budget, is a budget change. So the budget's growing previously to the 122,000, and that budget is broken up between a coordinator whose pay has increased from $17 to $23 an hour. So that's the person who operates the program. They get staff support from others at United Way, but that's the person. We continue to have a team lead and then we have the 2 crew that we've had, and then we're adding an additional crew member. So you can think in the future, if we did want to add a new team member, it's possible, $17,680. But that's the big change, is that we've added now we have 4 crew members on the team and a coordinator who's getting paid adequately. This budget doesn't include, like it's noted here, doesn't include secret fix or marketing, because those are things we pay out of our own account. So that's not part of the contract for them to do. It's we purchase a secret fix account. So that's the budget. Is a change, and that was all discussed through our finance committee and in the budget process, and so it's incorporated as part of that. And then the next thing as a change is the scope of work, which has been updated. We went in and did a good number of updates just because the other one had been mostly the same since the past. I mean, it had new things in it, but I kind of went in to make it really focus on how the program operates now compared to when we originally thought of it. So it didn't get that many changes, but it had some. I went and made some clarifications on the priority of the work that we do, the beautification services, which is the fee abatement first. Because that's the one that's the impetus for creating the program and our power that we want to be accomplishing. But then it goes and puts the others in another priority order. It does include in this scope of work that the ID Beautiful staff will do the primary follow-up when we need to contact other agencies to fix things, and then the CSD staff will do the additional follow-up if the first one doesn't move forward. The next thing that I want to highlight is that in here it has that United Way. This is something our board has discussed in February and March, is that United Way will develop a report on how power washing of the sidewalks, both on a maintenance schedule and an emergency response, could work, because there are a lot of different factors. And so once this report is written and delivered to the board and accepted, then we can start a power washing component, but that's not part of the program yet until that's done. We're continuing to develop the policies and procedures, and there's a guidebook being put together by one of the staff assigned that's going to be completed as part of the scope of work, so that we can have anyone can step in and see what is being done. We've rewritten kind of the marketing section of the scope of work to now say that it's going to be, our engagement director, Sydney, who's taking the lead and working with United Way staff, but she will be directing marketing and outreach for our services. And then it also includes that we will be meeting bi-weekly to manage the program with United Way. The next thing that's a big change is the reporting as well. We're moving, this came out of the conversation I had with Eddie, which is to move towards a weekly report, activity report, and I kind of broke down the different kinds of activities or the different kinds of things that would be in that report, just so that we can have a more consistent check of what's being done in the community. And yeah, those are pretty much the major changes. Oh, and the last change, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it was to us who have to administer things, is moving to a July 1st, June 30 period instead of August to September. So it seems like a small change, but it makes our budgeting and tracking a lot easier because it want to do it itself. So those are the changes, and these are the recommending for approval.
Excellent. Thank you for that presentation.
And I'm turning it over to Eddie Taylor, the CEO of United Way, if you want to say anything.
Yeah, Jonathan, thank you. A couple of things that come to mind. We've been discussing these changes for several weeks, and I think the most important aspect of the change from my perspective is the feedback, the improved reporting. It's what we're doing together is employing a difficult population that is helping their lives in more ways than we know. And so that constant feedback is something that will really help us to build the relationships and maintain them. So I'm excited to see that. Really excited about the power washing component too. I know we've been talking about this for a couple of years. It's been a very tough year. Perhaps you all haven't noticed. I see some new faces you guys have been able to hire, but in the area of part-time employment, the hiring picture has not been easy. We're coming to a dynamic change in that scenario where the temporary unemployment payments from the federal government will end soon, and we're confident that we're going to be able to fill all 4 positions relatively quickly. And I'm excited about the team that we have that'll be running your program this year.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Taylor, for those remarks, and thank you, Jonathan, for that presentation. I want to open it up for board questions. Any questions on the contract? Not seeing any questions. I will kick it off with one question. So right now, is it true that when there are requests, because we get a variety of requests that are submitted, for example, a street light that's out, that's not something that we have control over, but we forward that on to Public Works and Edison. And that's so, am I correct in saying that that's something that we do right now? That's something that's on your plate or the rest of our staff's plate?
Yeah, it's kind of been a gray area. We've been sharing the responsibility, but now in this scope of work, we're making it definitive.
Excellent. And so are those requests also going to be included in the reports that we get from United Way?
Yeah, and so the reports here, even, this is the high level of what the report should look like, but even this one where it says number of issues currently unresolved, so that's how we would be tracking things. If it's been forwarded to another agency, then it would be, and they've resolved it, then it would be under this one. And then if it's not yet resolved and we're waiting on it, it'll be there. So at least on a week-to-week basis, we'll know if there's still that one street light always sitting in the unresolved category. So that's why we're doing the weekly activity report. And then, and it knows like what we identified, the public identified. So we'll kind of have it broken up that way too.
Excellent. And a question for Eddie is, you mentioned the hiring picture being somewhat challenging over the past year. What does our existing team look like? Do we have some folks that are staying on, or do we have just 4 open positions that need to be filled?
Currently, Spencer, there are 2 positions that are continuing. We had one person move on, actually relocated, got housed, moved on, and got a job. And then the other position has been vacant for a little while. The other position is what we're adding. So we've got 2 positions that need to be filled, and Miranda is working those diligently, almost on a daily basis.
Excellent. Well, I really want to congratulate our former employee who was able to move on and get housed, and I'd like to see us incorporate those, really optimal outcomes into the annual reporting so that we really highlight those. I know we've had a number of employees who have had their work experience they received through this program highlighted. I just really think that it's something that we should be doing everything we can to communicate with the public and make the public aware of that beneficial aspect of the program as well.
There is one other thing I would mention, Spencer, thank you for bringing that up. One of our expansion areas this year is in our Vista program. So we are on target now for bringing in 2 new Vista members. One of them will be helping us with grant writing, and the other will be focusing on social media marketing and fundraising. So we'll have an opportunity to bring them in to help us build the capacity to expand what we need to inform the public about what's happening in IV and obviously our other areas. But I think that'll be a great enhancement and help us to reach that goal.
Excellent. That's great to hear, Eddie. Thank you for that. Are there any other questions from directors or comments on the program?
Yes, just a comment. I know this year a big focus of the Finance Committee was how do we expand this program, and that's what this proposal does. So thank you to United Way for getting creative to see how we can increase service, provide more opportunities for support and success for people who need some help, while also making sure that we're growing in a sustainable way. So I'm very excited to support this.
Thank you, Director Bertrand. I never miss an opportunity to remind the public that if they go on their phones and download the See-Click-Fix app, they will be able to take a picture of issues that they see in the community, whether it is graffiti, an obstruction to the public right-of-way, trash that is left on the ground, and report it, and one of our IV Beautiful team will either come and be able to take care of it or forward it on to the responsible agency. I just really encourage everyone from the public to download that app and become a reporter to help us keep our community clean. And I also just want to echo the thanks to United Way for this partnership. This program has grown so much since it began, and I think the main piece of feedback we got from the community this year from our budget survey process was, what can we do to make Isla Vista a more clean and beautiful place? And I really feel that with this expansion, we're putting resources behind that goal. So I want to thank United Way because it wouldn't be possible without the partnership that we have with you. Thank you for that.
You're very welcome.
All right. I'll open it up for public comment. Are there any members of the public that would like to speak on this item? I'm not seeing any hands raised or anything in the chat. So I'll close public comment and bring it back to the board. Does anyone have a motion that they'd like to make? Director Flaherty.
I move approval of the 2021-2022 Isla Vista Beautiful contract with United Way.
Been a motion made by Flaherty. Is there a second?
I will second.
Seconded by Freeman. Any further public comment on the motion? Not seeing any. We'll bring it back to the board for a roll call vote. We're all in person. We can do it by acclamation. All right. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes 6-0. Wow. It's been a while since we've been able to do that, for those in the public wondering why we are laughing and so giddy. Okay, we're gonna close this item and move to item 4.5, the Survivor Resource Center Facility Use Agreement with STESA.
And President Brandt, I'm going to recuse myself from 4.5 and 4.6 due to my board service with STESA and my employment with the County of Santa Barbara. So I'll be back for the rest of the agenda.
Thank you, Director Bertrand.
Feel free to take a seat if you
Okay, I'll turn it over to staff for 4.5.
Great. So this one is a simple contract renewal. We've had this facility use agreement with STESA in the past, and it expired in June of 2020, and we did not renew it at the time because we were in the COVID pandemic, but we connected again recently and said that we wanted to get this started up again. And instead of doing a year, we decided to do 2 years since this has been going well, and we wanted to create more certainty. Besides that, that's the only change, is from a year to 2 year. Everything else, the exhibit, which is what the premises is, and what the what STESA is gonna do, provide crisis intervention and counseling services to survivors and loved ones, that's gonna all stay the same. So just a re-upping and extending the timeline out 2 years.
Excellent. Any questions from members of the board? Excellent. Well, I'll just take a quick opportunity to thank STESA for their partnership in providing the resources out of the Survivor Resource Center. And I am very excited to support this. The services that STESA provides are so necessary to our community, and providing them locally, I know, has really removed some barriers for survivors out here in Isla Vista that don't have transportation to get to other parts of the county, and that want a place that's in their own backyard where they can feel safe. So I'm very excited to support this. Okay. Is there any public comment on this item? I'm not seeing any hands raised, and so with that, I'll entertain a motion. Director Aguilar.
I'd like to move to approve the 2021 through 2023 contract with Survivor Resource Center Facility Use with STESA.
All right. Motion made by Aguilar. Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by Flaherty. Any further public comment? Seeing none, we'll go to a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right. Motion passes 4-0 with one recusal. Next, we'll go to 4.6, the Fifth Amendment to the 970 Embarcadero Del Mar lease.
So this is a simple lease. It's extending our time here out on the first floor and the second floor of 970 Embarcadero Del Mar to the end of the year. and it's keeping all the terms. Oh, not the end of the year. Yeah, so it's keeping all the terms the same. So that's just continuing our operation here in the community room and our district office as is. Let's see, that's just a extension. So through the end of the fiscal year, not the end of the calendar year. So it's a year out, and it allows us to continue doing our board meetings here, providing our services here, having our offices as a headquarters while according to the
Excellent. And for the benefit of the board and the public, can you remind us, we pay rent on some of it, but we don't pay rent on all of it.
Yes, great. I thought that was in here, but it's actually not. So I should remind you all. So we don't pay rent on this first floor. The value of the rent is around $1,200 a month, and we don't pay it. We kind of exchange the services we provide to run this room for the rent, the value of the rent. And then the upstairs portion of the building, there's a couple different suites. One is occupied by the clinic, one is occupied by UCSB, one is empty, and then another one is occupied by us, and we pay around $1,400 a month for that in rent. So that comes up to around $50,000 a year that we have in our budget for rent upstairs.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you for that. Any questions from members of the board? Great. Seeing none. Is there any comment from members of the public? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board and entertain a motion. Director Flaherty.
I move to approve the 5th lease amendment for 970 Embarcadero Del Mar with County of Santa Barbara.
I will second.
Made by Flaherty, seconded by Freeman. Any further public comment? All right, seeing none, we're going to go to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes 4-0 with 1 recusal. All right. Now we're going to go to reports, and I'll indicate to Director Bertrand that you can come back. Okay. Do any members of the board have reports they'd like to share? Not seeing any. I'll just say it's great to see everyone all back in person for all of those, and we hope to see you all in the public with us soon once this pandemic subsides a bit more. Okay, reports from committees. Do we have any committee reports? Finance committee.
Finance committee meeting again.
It is on Monday?
Yes, Monday at 5:30 to do the final budget.
All right. Monday at 5:30, and the Zoom and agenda will be sent out. For 5.3, report from council.
We have Jane. Is Jane still on? I don't think so.
Hi, yes, can you hear me?
Yes, Jamie.
Hi, I don't have anything to report, but I would just like to introduce myself. My name is Jamie Traxler. I work with Ross. I'm from the law firm Alshire and Winder. I just want to say that it has been a pleasure to be with you guys tonight, but nothing to report.
Thank you, Jamie. It is very nice to meet you, and we hope we will meet you in person someday soon as well.
I hope so. I love Isla Vista, so it'd be a great opportunity for me to visit for the weekend.
Excellent. Thank you for the report. Now, a report from General Manager.
Great. Look, and it's always hard to see where to look here today, getting used to it. So it's been a busy month. I can't believe it's been a month since the last board meeting. We've already gotten reports on Ivy Beautiful and the Compost Collective and the safety stations. We're re-upping the contract. That's been the main activity for those programs. You've seen that Sydney or Carly has already started with the Compost Collective, and We are looking, like you mentioned, at a couple piles where we can expand the piles, so we can expand capacity of composting in Isla Vista. We'll be needing to bring some sort of a contract to the board in the next couple meetings for that. So look out for something on the Compost Collective coming soon. Next up is the Assistant General Manager for Community Programs. I put this in my email to you all, but I wanted to stress it again that it is delayed. We extended the application deadline through Sunday, so the timeline's a little shifted, but please encourage people to apply. It had nothing to do with the pool, it just we wanted a bigger pool, so more applicants to be able to consider. So we just want to be able to consider that. And if anyone is interested on the board and being on the selection committee, we had Spencer and Catherine last time, or maybe Spencer wants to appoint someone to be in that capacity. I'd love to have a board member on that selection committee, one or two at least. So let me know if you're interested in it, and it's going to happen at the later end of August. And it'll be around like a 5 to 6 hour commitment about. So that's something I'd love your all's involvement in. We're back to in-person board meetings today, and that was something we were just trying to figure out. We got the community room clean for this, so it was not a mistake to be here, but that's something we did in the last week. STEP grant is really exciting. We're moving forward. Things continue to move forward. We're having our community meeting with our partners tomorrow with the different groups like the Food Co-op and the Independent Living Resource Center and Coast and Bike, SB Bike, who are partners in this. So we're meeting with them tomorrow to get them back up to speed and just we keep moving forward, getting the scope of work and RFP done. We had planned to have it done for today. That wasn't possible, but hopefully in August, the August 24th meeting, we'll get it done for you all then. We've been spending a lot of time in the last couple weeks getting Sydney up and trained and ready to go. That's been a great pleasure to be growing the staff and seeing how we can do more now. And on that same note is I started developing our organizational chart and structure, but it's always in flux based on new information. But I do have some drafts that I want to share with the board coming up. I've been continuing to talk with Allison Gray about the library services being launched, and she talked to me just right before the meeting started about having a launch and grand opening on October 4th, so in 2 months from now. So that's something to look forward to. And the LAFCO MSR process, I'm submitting some updates. I'm asking Spencer and Jay to help me out a little bit on there just to make sure we get them all. But they said they responded to our submission, basically included a lot of what we had submitted in there. But then we get to have a response to that and make some edits and clarifications. So I'm working on that and getting that turned in. We turned in our property tax collection, so we're set on our property taxes from the sewage. It actually looks like the sewage collection amounts have gone down a little bit, and I'm not sure why. I didn't do an analysis of any parcels drop out of sewage collection, but it's gone down by a few $1,000s now. So it's something to investigate, but it's something I just discovered while submitting paperwork and doing the calculations on the different, what each property is paying for sewage and how much we're taxing. So that's something to take a look at. And besides that, some future things still coming up. The GAN limit is something we're working on, the final budget. We've done the scope of work I mentioned already, and I've been talking to Kirsten, Director Desler, on what we want to do in bringing something forward back on planning in the next couple meetings. So we're brainstorming some things on that as well. So yeah, that's my update. And I did have a vacation as one of the weeks, or some of the days in 1 week since the last board meeting. So didn't do much that week, obviously, but yeah, so that's been how the summer has been going.
Excellent. Thank you for your report. Any questions from board members for Jonathan? All right, I don't have any questions myself. Thank you for your report. The last item that we have on the agenda is future meeting dates and agenda items. I know that you just mentioned a future item on planning and on compost. And one thing that I should have mentioned in reports is I attended the UCSB Munger Dorms Environmental Impact Review scoping hearing. And I think that there was a lot of information shared there that it would be good to be shared at our board. And so I'd like to see an item in the future on that project. Any other requests for agenda items from board members? All right.
Actually, one request I have is when preparing for the start of the school year, I guess, a month and a half from now, maybe there's some outreach we want to plan to target new people who are coming to the area for the first time or returning students. So I'd be happy to talk with you more on that.
Sounds good.
Excellent.
I will say that we don't have as much planned in the next couple of meetings as we just did. We just got through the budget process, which was a really intense, lots of agenda items. So if you do have topics, there is more space in the agenda right now.
Excellent. That's good information to know. I want to, before we end, briefly reopen general public comment, because I know there at the beginning we had a couple of hiccups with the tech and everything. So I just want to reopen that item 3, and ask if there's any general public comment that members of the public have. Feel free to raise your hand or put something in the chat. I see one from Mark. Go ahead, Mark.
Okay, thank you, Spencer, and thank you, everyone. Sorry, I'm usually a little bit more prepared at the beginning of these, and I wasn't today, so thanks for reopening public comment. I wanted to bring to the attention of the board 4 assembly bills, or I guess state legislature bills that are going forward that I think everyone should be aware of. The 2 that I just put in the chat, Ab43 and Ab122, these 2 are actually already going to the state assembly, the state senate and the full floor of the state senate. So AB43 gives cities full flexibility in setting speed limits, which makes streets a lot more safe, and they don't have to use the 85th percentile rule. And AB122 actually does this thing that I think Isla Vista has needed for a long time, and it's been proven to be safe and effective, which it basically turns stop signs into yield signs for bicyclists. It's so basically if there's a car or a vehicle, cyclists are to yield to them legally as opposed to doing a full stop, which, like I said, there's a lot of data and evidence for that being a lot safer. And then the other 2 that I'm also going to put in the chat, these are at the Senate appropriations level, is an e-bike rebate program and the abolishing of parking minimums around transit stops. So I just wanted to actually advocate for y'all keeping these in mind, or even reaching out to Senator Limon to making sure that these get passed, because these are going to be really essential for the whole state of California, but really especially for Isla Vista and the way that we tackle our active transportation. There's other bills too about decriminalizing jaywalking and other things, but I would say these are the 4 that, in my kind of mind, apply to Isla Vista the most. So thank you so much for reopening public comment, and thanks for keeping these in mind and as you advocate in your own personal lives.
Thank you for that report, Mark. Question from Director Freeman.
Maybe then at our next meeting, agenda item on AB122. That was one that's this topic that has been somewhat controversial locally. So maybe we have a meeting about it and decide we want to send a letter of support.
Sounds good. And we can go back and review to the policy on supporting things too. Thank you for that legislative advocacy update, Mark. Any other comments from members of the public? All right, seeing none, I will say our next regular meeting will take place in 2 weeks on August 24th at 6 p.m. It will be on Zoom, and I believe the plan is that we will be here in person, and we will hopefully have the hybrid meeting technology figured out a little bit more. Thank you, everyone, for bearing with us with the technology. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Made by Freeman. Is there a second? Seconded by Flaherty. Any public comment? Board discussion? All right. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, everyone, and we will see you in 2 weeks.